So in my last video I kind of outlined how I came to be living in a vehicle. In my case a really tiny little car, a Citroen C1. In this video I'm going to set out very briefly how I actually live in that vehicle. How on earth do you actually do it if you live in a very small car? That's what I'm going to discuss in this video. This question is, how do you have car insurance, and how do you register the vehicle if you don't actually have a permanent house you're living in? That's fine. I've got family in my case, and you could use friends as well and register the vehicle at one of those addresses. I register it at a family address, so that's not a problem at all. And sometimes I'll go and stay at that family address, but probably only once or twice since 2018. Now it's 2025. I say I live in the vehicle. A more accurate way of putting it would be that I live from the vehicle. Imagine if you go camping, you don't generally live within the tent. In a tent, when you're camping, you kind of stay in your tent and then you kind of go travelling around and walking and go to local cafes and restaurants and that kind of stuff, go to the beach when you're camping. I do much the same when I'm living from my vehicle. So the vehicle is my bed space, and it's also, in the evenings, my kind of cooking space. It's quite a steep hill, this one. Let me turn you around so you can see where I'm walking. Push that up a bit. Do love this Osmo Pocket 3 filming setup. It's very convenient. But yeah, so I'm on the Isle of Wight, by the way, in Ventnor, on the south coast of the Isle of Wight. So I live from the vehicle. I sleep in it at night, and I've got, basically what I did in the vehicle was, in the car, it's only a little tiny Citroen C1, I removed the passenger seat, or got the garage to do that, as they were doing the MOT, so perfectly legal, doesn't affect the insurance. And well, I did actually speak to the insurance company first, and by removing the passenger seat, it gave a whole sort of space where you normally put your feet and where the seat itself goes for storage, and I put a plank of wood over that, just a bit of plywood. And then I also took out the back seats for the Citroen C1. It's only a 3-door vehicle, so it only has kind of the passenger door, the driver's door, and then the back door. So I took out the back seats, and that basically created a big space. It's about 6.5 to 7 foot between the very back of the car and the front of what was the area where the passenger seat went. So over that sheet of plywood, I just placed a piece of kind of memory foam type mattress, and that's given me effectively a 6 foot long, 1.5 2 foot, probably 2 foot wide bed space in the Citroen C1, stretching from where the passenger seat is, or was, over the back seat towards the back of the car, and that's where I sleep at night. In terms of cooking, how do I go about making food? So I don't generally eat out very often, so I will occasionally go for cheesy chips down there in Ventnor Bay, down the bottom, but generally I kind of have snacks, reasonably healthy snacks during the day, and then in the evening I'll make a larger kind of meal in the car. There's the sun, and that's easy. I just use a camping gas type stove, which I'm sure you've all seen if you've done camping and you wanted to cook food. Just has a little gas cylinders, and basically I warm up. Well, I generally make curries and pasta based food in there each evening, and during the day I'll just snack or go and buy some cheesy chips somewhere, that kind of thing. None of that is at all difficult to do, and that keeps me going in those terms. And in the morning I've got a jet boil, which is another little kind of gas stove setup, and I use that to make a coffee each morning, decaffeinated coffee every morning. It's nice to hear the old fledged blue tits calling away in the canopy above. They've stopped now, obviously, as I've said that. So that's basically how I cook and, well, how I set up the vehicle to live in, and how I cook my food and make warm drinks in there. It's a very mobile kind of lifestyle, so I kind of don't, I don't live in the vehicle, I live from the vehicle, and during the day I'll wake up at about 7 o'clock in the morning, a bit earlier, 6:30, 7 o'clock in the morning. I'll go for an early morning walk, then I'll come back to the car and finish off a cup of coffee I've just made using the jet boil. And then during the day, I'll generally work from local cafes and pubs in the evening, down wherever I am. So I'm very mobile, but I generally can be found here in Ventnor on the Isle of Wight, and there's loads of little cafes along the seafront here, along the beach, and I can just work from those. I'll kind of migrate between various cafes during the day, and I'm writing books and creating YouTube channels like this one, or creating YouTube videos for my channel like this one. It's a really straightforward, easy kind of lifestyle, and that's generally how I live on a day-to-day basis. So I'm currently building multiple streams of income, kind of online income, whilst I'm living in my car, and I'm working as well. So I'm employed, and the aim is that those little side hustles I'm building up will kind of replace and offset the wages that I'm getting by being employed, and I'll be able to leave my boss, fire my boss, and live a fully independent kind of lifestyle from my vehicle, travelling around at will really, because I'm earning enough money, or I will be by the end of 2026 is the aim. I'll be earning enough money from my little side hustles, my online businesses, to be able to live full time. And I will do another video on exactly what that means, what those little side hustles actually are. But it's things like writing a book, having YouTube channels, or writing quite a few books ultimately, having the YouTube channels which earn ad revenue, and having affiliate links in the descriptions to the videos, creating online courses. I'm planning on creating some online courses. These are all straightforward things you can do. In fact, I've written a book on my iPhone mini 13, which is this little tiny thing. Oh, where is it? In my other pocket. But I completely wrote using voice-to-text narration and edited and then published, designed the book cover for and then published one book on this iPhone mini 13, and I've now got 8 books published. There's a link to all of those in the description. They're actually great tits, those babies. I'm seeing the adult feeding behind me. I doubt you'll be able to see it, but it's in the Alexandra behind me. Love this time of year when things are fledging. There's lots around. It means I can walk around like this a lot, and when I've got my online businesses sorted out that are creating semi-passive income, there's no real such thing as passive income, but semi-passive income. Once they're sorted out, I can do a lot more walking around like this, and have a lot more freedom. But anyway, that's basically how I actually live from the vehicle. So I've had one video how I came to be living in a vehicle. This one's about how I actually do that on a day-to-day basis, and there will be videos coming up on how I'm building location-independent lifestyle, earning money on the road, living in a vehicle, and some other subjects depending on what questions you ask me. So do put questions in the comments section of this video, and I will endeavour to address them. And I will leave you with a nice view of Ventnor Downs, and then in a minute you'll have a view of Ventnor Bay, but let's just swing around and have a look at the hill over there, if I can get the camera to find the hill. There it is. A little bit breezy, but here's a lovely Ventnor Bay.